Hey friends, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Man, tomorrow's New Year's Eve. And it's almost 2021. That's even a more scary thought. Scarier thought? Yeah. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. I feel all fancy, but I was having fun digging through my closet trying to find an outfit that would kind of fit both modern and vintage styles for this video. So this was the best I could come up with since I don't wear a lot of vintage styles apparently. Today's video is just kind of a fun contrast between makeup from 100 years ago and today. So I thought it would be kind of fun to go through and do a makeup look on either side of my face, one representing 1921 and the other representing 2021, and seeing the contrast in styles and preferences between that 100-year period. So disclaimer, I am not an historian, I am not a vintage makeup expert by any means. I did do some research and I figured I would have some fun doing this. So if that sounds interesting to you, please stay tuned. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Em and you're watching Makeupry. So if you're new here, again, welcome. Hi. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I hope this is an interesting video. If you'd like to come back and hang out again in the future, please be sure to click that subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you can come back and hang out with me again. Stay tuned for the end of the video because I will be doing a little giveaway in spirit of Emalyce, woohoo, because we're getting to the end of that. So I'm going to do side-by-side beauty routine, I guess. 1921 and 2021. Moisturizer. It was not uncommon in the 1920s and earlier for women to use rose water and glycerin to moisturize their skin. And rose water is still popular. It's soothing and a lot of people don't tend to have allergies to it. This dress is so flouncy that I have to like lift it when I move my chair so I don't run it over. So by 1920, the era of wearing makeup was now really truly blossoming. Some point before World War I, wearing makeup was a sign of being a harlot or someone who, was roaming the nights who shouldn't be. It's actually quite amazing how very little difference there is between the Victorian era of makeup and anything prior to 1920s. I did do a video a while back, several years back now, thinking about it, where I do more of a realistic look of the Victorian era makeup and kind of talking about the dangers of it. So it's a dramatic kind of thing, but it's kind of fun. I enjoyed making that video, so go check it out. It's in the links below. Anyway, moving into 1920s, more products now became readily available in pharmacy and over the counter. One thing that women were very fond of is skin correction, and they would use a lot of products like stick foundations and pan concealers and things like that. Lighter skin, smooth, youthful skin was very much the desired trait. Sounds pretty familiar. So stick foundations and pan foundations were really popular. Now makeup brushes weren't really what a lot of people used from what I can tell in my research. So they used a lot of powder puffs and puffs like this. Now this is going to be caked on, but that's kind of how it was back then. And this is the first time I'm using this foundation. It's actually a really good match. This is the Hourglass one. Another quick note, because I don't have any of the original vintage products to share, I'm only using similar products that I have that would kind of fit the criteria of that time frame. But again, don't come for me because I know this is not absolutely 100% authentic. Okay? Now moving on to the modern side. One of the steps that we like to do is use a primer. Not everybody, but a lot of us do. So I am going to use a little bit of face primer. And I don't have my foundation with me, so I'm going to use a foundation stick as well because they are still pretty popular. Although in today's society we either use makeup sponges, which are similar to beauty puffs, or we use brushes. And I prefer brushes myself. Now back in the 1920s, powder was pretty popular. Coty was a brand that had formed, and lo and behold, I do have a Coty container here. It's not the original, but it is as close to the original formula as I can get. And they would powder their skin quite heavily. Now before I move on to powder on the modern day age, I am going to apply a little bit of under eye concealer. This is something that's pretty popular nowadays. Concealer in this kind of form definitely didn't exist in the 1920s. It did exist in a pan form, but a lot of times they were pretty similar to the foundation, so it really didn't make much of a difference. The consistencies are pretty similar, so I won't count them as separate products. So far, not a huge difference between the two, right? Both like full coverage, both like seamless finish. Now to set the face on the right side, I'm going to use a powder foundation. This gives extra coverage, and I'm only using it where my face naturally creases and where I applied the concealer. I feel so odd wearing full coverage, I'll be honest. So in the 1920s, rouge was very popular. Rouge may have come in a little pot, or in later years may have come in a compact. In the earlier days of formation, from the research I could find, a lot of the colors were kind of corals and orangey pink colors, which I'm assuming would be something like this. The rosier tones, the redder tones, those didn't come out until a little bit later. But that said, I'm going to use this very bright blush or rouge here, and I am using my fingers to apply it. A lot of times I did use creams. I don't have a cream in this kind of shade. It wasn't uncommon for rouges to come in sort of a cream base. Because this is a powder, I'm applying it over the top of a powder. So 2 fingers, it's going to be pretty intense. Yeah, I forgot this particular powder doesn't blend very well. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and use a brush. And a lot of times the color was placed here in the center of the face and brought down apples of the cheeks and just kind of in the fleshy areas of the face. Blush in today's standards, well, there's a ton of different blush colors, so I won't say that there's any one particular blush that's more popular than another. A lot of people do use more natural toned blush colors, and they tend to apply them in a little bit more of a strategic fashion. In my case, I like to apply it here up under the cheekbone and up and blend it up towards the temple to lift the cheekbones up and to blend out and up into the temple into a draping fashion. Using highlighter definitely wasn't the same as it is today. In the 1920s, a highlighted look might have come from applying a balm or some sort of oil to the face. For me, I don't necessarily have a balm or an oil that would look good on my skin. I am going to use a clear gloss though, because this would be similar to something they would use then. And it's just a little bit here, nothing too out there. But we all know in modern day times, highlighter is all the rage, and of course, where would we be without our glowy highlighters that make us shine out to outer space? Okay, let's move on to the eyes. I'm going to start first with the brows. So one of the things that a lot of women use to draw their brows on or to even add color to the eyes was kohl. Now kohl now comes in the form of a kohl pencil, but it's more of like a grease stick formula, so it's not the same. The very iconic 1920s style brow was that the inner corner kind of came up higher. Since I have an arch that comes up, I'm going to have to emphasize and brush my hairs down a little bit to make this particular style work for me. So they might have used a wax or something to do this as well. But the hair would come up a little bit higher. Even this I feel is a little bit thicker than it would actually be. They had very thin brows. I don't think I can commit to like shaving off my brows or covering them up for this. But what I can do is clean this up a little bit more. That's as clean as I'm going to be able to get that without like completely shaving stuff off. Now for modern day brows. Okay, so definitely a huge difference. Our modern day brow has a stronger arch, is a little bit lighter, it's still a very full brow, but stark difference. This isn't as thin as I really would like it to be honest. I like this better. It's a little less harsh. I mean, it's still harsh, but it's not as bad as it was. So very thin. It's still dark. It still has a little bit of natural shape to it. I probably have this down a little too far yet still. There was the Harlow look. It's very similar to this, whereas very rounded. My brows are definitely not that round. They're more arched like this. So it kind of looks like it follows that, but it's definitely more rounded, as you can see. But yeah, thinner brows were kind of the rage back then. Moving on to eye makeup. I mentioned this already, but in days gone past, creams were used, a lot of kohl was used. I'm going to use a brown cream shadow, and I'm going to place that close to the lash line here. And then I'm going to use my finger to smudge it out and kind of blend it up onto the lid. I'm going to pull it up a little bit higher too in this inner corner to bring it up closer to that, the bridge of the nose. I believe in the earlier 20s it wasn't as dark as we've seen characterized in movies and in pictures and such, and the typical flappers. I believe, at least from what I can tell, that the darker looks kind of evolved as the years went on, but the earlier 1920s were kind of moving in that direction, but not quite to that deep, like, black look yet. And it was a little bit more natural looking, just yet still kind of intense. For modern day makeup, we often use a primer of sorts on the eyelids, or an eye base, or a combination. I have a little bit of texture going on this lid, so it's not going to look the smoothest because of that. It's not like I'm trying to purposely make it look bad or anything. So the trends of 2020, 2021 are very all over the place. You could have a neutral eye look, you could have a colorful eye look. I'm going to take a brown and apply that into the crease. Then I'm going to take a lighter shade over the center of the lid here. And then I'll take a brighter shade here into the inner corner. Eyeliner was something that was done more like with a kohl pencil, very similar to what I did with my eyebrow. I'm going to use the liner just against the lash line and under the bottom lash line as well. I'm kind of haphazardly applying that right now. And I'll smudge it with the brush. In modern day makeup, it could be very similar where it's smudged out like that, or it could be a liquid line, which is what I'm going to do with the liquid liner. Okay, now moving on to mascara. Mascara is something that was new to the market back in the 1920s. It wasn't known as a mascara per se. There were cake mascaros at the time developed, and they were pan mascaras essentially. I don't have a pan mascara, although a brand that does still sell them, or rather they sell a new formulation of the old classic, is Besame Cosmetics. If you're interested in that, then I would definitely check it out. How it works is it's just a dry cake formula, and you rub a wet brush into it, like a spoolie of sorts, and then you would brush your mascara through your lashes. That was how mascara was applied back in the day. I don't believe false lashes really came onto the market until maybe the later 20s or maybe 1930s. That is also very popular in today's modern day makeup, is to wear false lashes. I don't personally like to wear them, and I know a lot of people do not wear false lashes. I feel like that is very popular on YouTube, but maybe not so much in mainstream makeup. So I am just going to apply a simple mascara to both lashes. The whole point was just to give color to the lashes, maybe push them up a little bit. I'm also going to do a technique where I brush the lashes outward versus straight and upward to kind of give it a side swept doll-like look, and then a little bit up. Whereas modern day might be just all of it straight up and down. And then bottom lashes as well. Alright, moving on to the lips. Now the lips are also an interesting contrast between 1921 and 2021. There was a very specific bow shape that was popular in the 1920s, and I think you all know what I mean. The colors, however, were a little bit more natural starting out in the 1920s, and then they grew vampier and deeper. I'm going to use a lip crayon to kind of create that bow shaped lip on the 1920s side. Hard to do to a half a lip. And then what's popular in today's culture is very different. I'm going to take a lip liner and create the nude lip that's also very full. So there is definitely a huge difference between the two, but at the same time there isn't. Like the fuller coverage foundation look is still very much in, although my predictions say I think that trend's kind of going on the wayside given COVID. Anyway, and this is so much fun. I love doing this kind of thing. Do you like this kind of contrast on my face? I don't think I've ever done a two-face look like this. I think it's kind of fun. Anyway. I don't know, I'm speaking like this. So there's definitely some more like costume elements to the makeup on the 1920 side with really strong rouge and obviously a deeper vampire lip. I have to say, I do love a good vampy lip, even in modern day times. A good modern vampy lip is still very popular, but I had to stick with the trends, which are very much nude, overdrawn lips for the most part. Anyway. As I said in the disclaimer, this is not like 100% accurate. This was just based off of research that I had done, but feel free to leave your thoughts in your comments below. I would love to hear what you think. This is so much fun. I think I need to do this for some other time periods as well because, I don't know, I just like the idea of it. Alrighty, so there's a giveaway. You knew that, right? Because you're here for Emalyce. Haha. What you could win in today's Emalyce giveaway is the Juvia's Place Nubian palette. This is such a beautiful neutrals palette. If you're looking for some great basic eyeshadows but with a really beautiful consistent creamy formula, then this will have you covered. I am excited to give this away because I am absolutely in love with Juvia's Place. I think they are an amazing brand, and I'm looking forward to seeing them do many more wonderful things in the future. In order to potentially win this palette, what you need to do is be subscribed, obviously. I would like you to leave a comment below letting me know which of these two looks you prefer. Do you like the 1920s vampy style, or do you like the modern day take on classic makeup? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Good luck. By the way, you have until 11:59 Pacific Standard Time on January 1st to enter to win, so be sure to do that. Be sure to stick around for tomorrow because tomorrow is the grand finale of Emalyce, and I'm kind of sad that the 12 days of Emalyce are just about over. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, thanks again for being here and for hanging out with me today. Again, be sure to click that subscribe button and leave that comment below to enter to win this beautiful palette. And I shall see you next time. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay electric. Mwah. Bye!